Hey family, welcome to Buzzworthy Veterans. I'm your host, Ant Stroud. Today we are joined with Ryan Hollister from Haskell. Hey Ryan, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, with Buzzworthy Veterans, we like to acknowledge our veterans, so thank you so much for your service, and thank you for paving the way before I came along and did my job. But tell me a little bit about your military service.
Sure. I grew up in Joliet, Illinois, so far away from any water. And at 18, I joined the Navy. I had a family history of joining the Navy, so graduated high school. 4 days after I turned 18, I went to MEPS.
Wow.
And started my adventure. I went to school at Great Lakes for IT,
Okay.
so communications, and then found myself originally in Virginia for not too long on the Samuel B. Roberts.
Okay.
We home port shifted down to Jacksonville. I was stationed down in Mayport, and so spent 4 years on the USS Samuel B. Roberts here in Jacksonville.
So tell our viewers who've never been on a ship, how was that? What was that experience like?
It's closely in close contact with your best friends all the time.
So that one might not work for COVID cases right now. You take a lot of precautions.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Maybe when I was getting out, I was ready to get out, I suppose. But I got to tell you, reflecting back on it, I really enjoyed the time. But it was we went to I did deployment in the North Atlantic, the Mediterranean, and then South America, and I don't regret
you got to go on a med cruise. Med cruise. I was always stuck on the Pacific side of things. So we visited Thailand and Japan and all that stuff. So I was always envious of those who got to go to the Mediterranean because that's one of my favorite places to go. But tell us a little bit about Haskell. It sounds like a great company. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Haskell's founded here in 1965 by Preston Haskell. So we're a 55-year-old company as a design build company. What that means is we're construction, but we're also all of the design associated with construction.
Nice.
When I got out the service, I went back to Illinois. I used my GI Bill, and I went to school for construction, and then living down here and going back up to Illinois, as beautiful as it was just too cold for me. So I found my way back down here, and Haskell seemed like it was a good spot to be. So I found myself at Haskell and have made a career out of it for 13 years now.
Awesome. What construction are we talking? Are we talking like commercial size constructions or home, residence? What are we talking?
Fairly diversified. So a lot of industrial stuff. So think manufacturing plants. What I think is unique about Haskell for me is if it's a beer. Let's take a beer for instance. They build that shell, but they also put in all the equipment that converts that beer from raw material to finished good, and then puts it in the bottle, puts the cap on it, puts it in a box, and ships it out.
Okay,
the door.
So we're not even obviously that's a part of it, buildings, but you guys even construct smaller items and all kinds of things.
Well, it's part of a much larger project. So the project scale is usually pretty large. So these are the term is an EPC project, an engineer, procure, construct project. So
that sounds way above my pay grade, but it does sound interesting.
It's always interesting. In my career there, some of the highlights, I lived in the Virgin Islands for a year, and we built the Captain Morgan rum facility.
Oh, wow.
And then I lived in, actually, back where I went to high school, same area in Joliet, and we built a big alcohol distribution facility out there.
So you guys are everywhere.
We are. So
awesome.
we're 20 offices now across the nation, and then Mexico and Malaysia and Singapore and China. So
perfect.
Kind of all over the place now.
So let's transition and let's combine.
Yeah.
So you get out of the Navy after 4 years, and you're still relatively young because you came in the Navy young. How was that transition like going from the Navy to school back into the corporate world? Where did you struggle at all? Did you find anything, or was it like I'm hitting the run and I'm flying?
I think in a lot of ways I was fortunate. Illinois at the time, I don't know if they still do, they had a really great grant program for veterans, and that's what drove me back up there was they paid my tuition for state schools. So I combined my GI Bill with an Illinois grant, and I went back to school. And obviously, it's funny when you reflect on it, because at the time I was 21, 22 years old, and I felt like I was so much older than my fellow students, and I wasn't. But there's a bit of a transition there of just going from military service into the college environment. But
so you had a plan.
I had a
You had
plan.
the plan, the school, and everything worked out for you.
I did, and I had a good network. When I was at school, I hooked up with the local college veteran organization and volunteered in that organization throughout college, which was great. And then really leaned on some of my connections that I made in Jacksonville while I was down here in the service to try and find a job down here.
So you're saying get involved, get connected, and it makes it that much easier for you.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for visiting us and stopping on by, and definitely welcome to the family.
Oh, thank you very much.
Last thing, if somebody can reach out to you, wants to know more about your company, how can they do that?
So they can reach directly out to me, Ryan Hollister, and it's ryan.hollister@haskell.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for you family members out there, if you want to get in touch with him, please visit iwannabuzz.com. That's going to do it for this segment of Buzzworthy Veterans. I'm your host, Ant Stroud. And remember, always vets, always family. See you next time.